All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Achakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 First Fruit. This is the brother Kasha Kwala from the GMS Atlanta Church here in Georgia. And I wanted to do a lesson on Matthew chapter 12, verse 36, which we should all very well be familiar with. And I watched a video this morning, on the way to work, by Elder Apostle Gabar, and it was pretty much speaking on how you correct and reprove a fellow Israelite. You know what I'm saying? And the main thing, I'm sure, the first thing that popped up in a lot of brothers' head was Matthew 12 and 36 with "for every idle word." But this video is truly humbling, knowing that you're coming from an individual who's been doing this thing longer than I've been alive. Actually, you showed a big sign of humility, which makes you want to follow that individual even more. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to your speech, there's ways to avoid being judged for things you may say. All right. I know Apostle Tahar always talked about it with letting your speech be seasoned, which I have in Colossians, the 4th chapter. But it's very detrimental. It's very pivotal that you think about what you say before you say it. I know it sounds cliche, as in think before you speak, but no. Think before you speak. All right? Even if you go to pray, which I have that in the book of Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, the 18th chapter. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read Matthew chapter 12 and 36. And there's going to be one word that I want to, hone in on. So it says, but I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. All right? So the synopsis or the basis of that understanding of that scripture is that what you say, you're going to have to, be accountable for it. Okay? And to be honest, why would I sit here and lie? But you're going to have to take account of the things that are righteously said and account of the things that are unrighteously said, if you may have said it. If you say you're going to heal people, well, you're going to have to take account of that. And he's going to require you to do the healing. And you're going to have to give account in the day of judgment. Hey, why are you doing this healing? Hey, because I said this, that, and you said this, that, and the third, and that's why I'm doing it. I read about, Peter healing. I read about Yahweh Shai healing, and so on and so forth. That's why it happened. So, okay, cool. You took account of the word. And also, if you say something that's derogatory or what is it, not in season, you're going to have to take account of that. Well, why did you do or say that? Or why'd you say that, making you do that? You're going to have to get a reward for that, And the reward may not be something that you would technically want. So it says, but I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak. Now, this is more so towards, a slander or a murmur or something like that. Probably something not negative. It's something negative, all right? The reason being is because it has the word idle in there, all right? Now, if you were to say something with a thought process behind what you were saying, that's not an idle word, all right? So the word idle in the Greek is argos, if I'm saying that correctly. It's argos, which means free from labor, okay? At leisure, all right? So what? Free from labor, meaning what? You didn't take the time out to have your mental faculties or your thoughts labor to say what you're going to say before you speak it, all right? You didn't take the time out, which is what? Lazy, okay? Which is lazy. That's a very lethargic spirit to have, to not think before you speak. Just be rash and blunt out the mouth for no goddamn reason, all right? You think before you speak. All right, and usually when you see men who speak slowly, it's because their thought process is generating a speech that is going to be adequate for that type of moment. Okay, now people who speak extra fast sometimes slip up. The reason being is they're not fully uh, thinking about what they're saying before they speak. All right, even when you read, there's punctuation. There may be a semicolon or a colon or a comma or a period. These things are used for pauses within the certain text. So it may say one thing, comma, this a pause, all right? Meaning it's forcing a thought process to go through your mind. And I always say this, like when reading Paul's epistles, he uses a lot of punctuation. There's a lot of big words in Paul's epistles. It's sometimes hard to understand, but the punctuation is there for you to have a thought process. You can be on one verse and be studying that one verse for 20, 30 minutes because of the punctuation in it, okay? He may have said one thing and said a comma. Okay, let's stop here and see what that one thing meant and then move on. Meaning what? We're going to pause and analyze and think about what is being said. It's the same thing in your speech. Now, I'm not saying that someone who speaks fast is super rash. Okay, there are individuals who have a faster thought process than others. And that's just how it goes. It's true. All right. But sometimes you could slow down and actually think about what you're going to say next before you say it, before you get flustered, before the slip of the tongue comes. Excuse me. So it says lazy. It says shunning the labor which one ought to perform. Exactly. So speaking idly, you're shunning the labor that's supposed to go into your mind before it comes out into your mouth, out of your mouth. And we all know that what's conjured in your mind is your spirit talking. Okay? And sometimes when it comes out of the mouth and the flesh can't articulate what your spirit wants to say. The scriptures speak on that. All right? So shunning meaning putting away the work it takes to have a thought process to say the right things. Okay? So when it says what? Matthew 12:36, but I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, so every lazy, lethargic, inconsiderate, unnecessary word that an individual speaks, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. Exactly. All right. Your individual may say this, that, and the third, and the Lord's going to require him to eat their words. Well, you said it. So now it's here. You said it. Okay? That's why you have to be very careful on how you speak to people and how you speak to your Akim and the prophets around you. It's a very serious thing. All right? Idle speech is not good speech. Okay? A speech with a thought process behind it is adequate and seasoned speech. And I know when I was watching this video of Apostle Gabar, he says we have to deal in a classy manner. Being classy is having a good thought process. You have a good mindset and good individuals backing you who are telling you to push that mindset. All right? Simple and plain as that. This lesson was very good, and I think it's a mandatory watch. All right? Just from, what I perceive in the spirit, that, it's just what it's just what I think, man. What else you want me to say? But this is Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. I'm going to start at 5. It says, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. Correct. So walk in wisdom. And one wise thing to do is to speak correctly. So verse 6, it says, let your speech be always with grace, meaning classy, comes out smooth, like a knife through butter, all right? Like a nice glass of wine, like a nice bottle of wine going into your glass. It's nice and smooth. It's with grace. You ever seen you could say a ballerina or even a gymnastics individual, okay? Even a gymnastics individual. They move with grace on the mat or move with grace on the stage. It's very graceful and smooth. That's the same way your speech should be. All right. And it says seasoned with salt. Okay. Have a flavor to it. All right. Seasoned with salt also meaning the experience. So when you speak, your experience should be expressed. You can tell an individual who speaks that they don't have a lot of experience, or maybe don't have a lot of wisdom, or maybe they're still learning. You can tell when someone talks what level they're on. You can. Okay, that's why the scriptures say, let a fool speak, because you can see that their level is not adequate or not on par of an individual who actually thinks before they speak and has a seasoned speech. Okay, all right. It says, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. Correct. And like it says walk in the wisdom. And at the end of verse 6, it says how ye ought to answer every man. Correct. The scriptures say in the book of Proverbs, what? A simple answer, all right, turneth away wrath. Okay? That's being seasoned with salt and having speech, your speech being with grace. Okay? Because now you know how to answer individuals without having confrontation or debate. All right? Apostle Gabar did a video about debate. It was like a 6-minute video about debate. You shouldn't be debate is out of the question. Okay, if you're coming up against the words and want to debate about, no, it's either yes or no. Simple as and plain as that. Debating is strife, which is what? Idle words. Okay, because more than likely, what? You're insulting one another. You're trying to get into someone's skin or anything of that nature. It's a difference when you're contending the faith and then debating. You see what I'm saying? And every time some individual has come up, it hasn't been a debate. First off, it's been very one-sided because they got actually whipped in the spirit. Second off, we're not debating with you. We're contending the truth and telling you what is the real. Okay? So this skit, Sirach chapter 18, I'm going to start at verse 19. It says, learn before thou speak. Correct. And if you learn before you speak, the learning process comes with what? Shutting the hell up. You have to listen and analyze and be logical before you release any information. You have to thoroughly go through what certain things, like main example in Ezekiel and the book of Ezra, 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter. The Lord told Ezekiel to eat the entire roll. If he wouldn't have ate the entire roll, he couldn't go out there and tell the people. He learned. All right. Ezra, he had a drink of that cup of water that looked like fire. All right. In him he uttered understanding. Wisdom grew in his breast. And what? When he opened his mouth, he could shut no more because he learned before he started to speak. When it said in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, I think 39th verse, it said, I opened my mouth and shut no more. That was after the fact that he drank of the cup, meaning he learned. Okay? It says, and use physic or physician or ever thou be sick. Verse 20. This is a way to avoid what? Being judged for what you say. It says, before judgment, examine thyself. Examine yourself before you open your mouth and just say something. All right? And it says, in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy. Exactly. So say what? You start examining yourself and learning before you speak. Those words that you say when the day of judgment comes, what? You're going to be shown mercy. All right? The ones who speak idly, they're not going to be shown the same thing that you're going to be shown. Okay? It says, let me skip verse 21. I'm going to go to verse 23. It says, before thou prayest, prepare thyself. All right? And be as not as one that tempteth the Lord. Exactly. So here's another thing I would like to say. Even on your day-to-day basis, try to limit talking out loud unless, it's something righteous. or as righteous as you can make it. All right. Yes, the Lord knows your reins and knows your thoughts. But I tell you one thing: Satan rules this, is the heir of this society right now. If you speak something aloud, Satan is going to hear it, and it's going to come to pass. Satan will go back up to the Lord. Hey, you heard what this dude said? And the Lord's going to be like, yeah, go ahead. He said it. Be careful what you say out loud, even in your own quarters, even by yourself. Now, I'm going to say this too, to go in deeper, even your thoughts. All right? Let the Lord control your thoughts. When the Lord controls your thoughts, you're thinking nothing but positivity. And your mind is only on the set prize at hand, which is the kingdom. Okay? The Lord, He knows your thoughts. Okay? So stay indulged in these scripts and keep them positive. Think salvation. Think healing. Think endurance. Think wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Think these things into existence, into your mind, so the Lord will be justified to give you a righteous reward. Okay? Instead of a reward of the wicked. Okay? Don't have such a negative mindset. And don't, when you speak aloud and you're by yourself, don't always speak so negatively. And even don't speak negatively about yourself. The scripts even tell you not to think so harshly about yourself. I think it's in the book of Sirach. Maybe if I can find it, I'm going to read it. I can't find it. But another script did come to mind. All right? With being careful with your speech. This is Sirach chapter 22, verse 22. If thou hast opened thy mouth against thy friend, fear not, for there may be a reconciliation. Okay? You may have said something directly to the individual. Now listen, except for upbraiding. Upbraiding is talking behind someone's back, or pride, or disclosing of secrets. There may be something that was confidential between you two, and you disclose a secret. All right, or a treacherous wound. For these things, every friend will depart. Exactly. So you got to be careful with what you say and how you treat individuals, and literally what you say about a man who's not present. Okay? The talking, the murmuring, the Lord doesn't take that lightly. Okay? Even within your household. All right? I'm going to say this straight up because I went through an experience. All right? Even you ribs, even you women who are with your men. If you're talking behind your man's back and you're saying things that I'm pretty sure your man would not want you to disclose to anybody else, you have to take account of that. You will be judged for that. There's a script in the Bible, in the book of, I want to say Exodus, where there was murmuring behind and upbraiding behind Moses' back. Individuals ended up getting what? Leprosy. Individuals ended up getting what? Swallowed whole by in the earth. The Lord opened a hole in the earth and swallowed them up. Died. The Lord does not take that lightly. If you're revealing secrets behind your spouse's back, and this goes for you men too, and disclosing information that doesn't need to be said. Instead, you need to keep it between you and your household, or you and the Lord. Okay? You will be judged for those things. The Lord does not take that lightly. Okay? You express your faults to any other individuals. Okay? And what is done with the other party, that is between you two to hash out and fix. You do not go to other individuals and release information that does not need to be released. Okay? It is not your information to release. It's very confidential. You will be judged for those things. So you have to be very careful with your words and your speech nowadays, especially like the apostle said, when you rebuke another individual, especially an Israelite. Okay? Now, they're out of line if they're upbraiding or talking behind someone's back. That's not up to your control. But if you catch something that's wrong, rebuke them in a righteous, classy manner, like it was said in this lesson. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, and Chakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Brother Kasha Qual, until next time, I'm going to say shalom.